Thank you for joining us this evening. I want to say a special thank you to United Real Estate for taking the time out of their schedule to meet with us, as we will be going over a case analysis of United Real Estate, everything from their business strategy to their 5 forces model to a SWOT analysis, and into the main reason why we're here, some strategic concerns, and then some recommendations and how we can implement those recommendations to better the United Real Estate business. First, we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Andrew Howald. Autumn.
I'm Autumn Johnson.
I'm Jason Limbacher.
Here's Dunfu Xuan. First, let me introduce the background. United Real Estate Group is an international real estate giant which has more than 90 offices and over 3,800 agents worldwide. This group is operating several brands, including the United Real Estate Country, United Referral Network, United PRD International, and so on. Slide.
Thanks, Sherm. So United Realty really has 3 main business strategies. The first is concentrated growth. United Realty for Middle Tennessee, their goal is to grow from 19 agents to 15 agents within a year, with an aspiration of reaching 200 agents within 5 years. Second is the market development. United Realty would like to expand into a similar market as Middle Tennessee, which has a metropolitan city population around 1 million, and then also a neighboring county with roughly 300,000 residents. An example of these markets would be Charlotte, Denver, or even Cincinnati. And third is their cost strategy. United separates themselves from competitors by offering a 100% model commission-based pay for all of their agents. Their earnings are actually only coming from a $495 transaction fee for every home that's closed on, a $75 a month technology fee, and a $150 service fee paid from the seller. Slide.
Okay, so moving to the 5 forces model, the first force we'll look at is the intensity of rivalry, which is a moderate force for them. Typically, agents outnumber the property spaces available to sell, rent, and buy. So agencies must find differentiators to separate themselves from the competition. And all in all, this is a competitive environment, but it does encourage playmakers to make those plays and stand out in the environment. Slide. The next force we have is the bargaining power of suppliers. It's a strong force. It is a dependent relationship as they act as intermediaries. So this relationship must be strong because at the end of the day, agencies need suppliers to supply them with something to sell. And looking at the bargaining power of buyers and also strong force and a dependent relationship. So we figure no matter the state of the economy, buyers will always hold some form of power in this relationship because buyers are the essential part of the transaction. You need a buyer to finalize that transaction and get that sale. And since real estate is a chosen investment purchase, they don't happen very frequently. They're not frivolous buys. So buyers spend a little more time choosing and purchasing these real estate properties and basically choosing who they want to work with, the agency. Slide. So the threat of new entry is also a strong force because there are low barriers to enter the real estate industry. Really all you need is license, training, and some capital to get started. So if you decide to work in this industry, you must always maintain a competitive advantage. And moving to our final force of threat of substitutes, this is a moderate to low force. There are really no real substitutes to real estate. The only other options is rent or sell by owner, but most choose to not do that because it is riskier without agencies' guidance. So this is not a true strong force for them to worry about at the moment. Slide.
Thank you, Autumn. So now we're going to move into the driving forces for United Realty. And we're going to focus on some driving forces, but specifically, how do they actually impact United Realty of Middle Tennessee? So demographics. Obviously, demographics affect the real estate market, but the Nashville metro area grew by 95 people a day on average during the past 4 years. The 14-county region includes Murfreesboro and Franklin. Caveat, does not include Clarksville. Second, interest rates. Rates on home loans have plummeted to a new record and on average are of less than 3.25% for 30-year fixed rate mortgages, which basically makes buying a home more affordable and more attractive to buyers. Third is the economy. Currently, There are 30 million Americans who have filed for unemployment benefits over the past 6 weeks in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. This will ultimately dictate the attractiveness to sell a home at top dollar or instill fear into a potential buyer with uncertainty. Last are government policies. The CARES Act was passed, which paid out $2 trillion stimulus package. This legislation seeks to provide emergency financial assistance to people and businesses. Additionally, on April 24th of 2020, another relief bill has provided an additional $484 billion in funding to a number of small business programs to help alleviate the fears for potential buyers. Slide.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about the key success factors for any real estate agency or broker in today's market. The first one is a large database of property information. So data is super important in the buying and selling process, and it is going to be essential for any group to have access to this data in assisting someone in buying or selling a home to make sure that they're up to date on comps in the area, how properties are selling and that sort of thing. We also need a large network of agents and properties. Andrew touched on the fact that United wants to up the amount of agents that they have, and that's going to be important. You got to be able to show a number of properties to potential buyers. And again, you want to have as many agents as possible selling those homes, especially in the business model that United uses, with most of their, or really almost all of their income coming from those transaction fees that those real estate agents and brokers are able to generate. You also have to have the ability to build personal and community relationships. So many buyers or sellers choose brokers or agents solely based on the relationship in the community. And what I mean by that is, if there's a local name or whether it's a broker or an agency that's been around the community for a long time, has those strong community ties, many buyers or sellers in that area are just going to go to that broker or agency and use them regardless of anything else. And finally, competitive fees and track record. Again, that kind of goes without saying that you got to have competitive fees. You have to be competitive in the market, and you have to have the track record to show that you can close houses for sellers.
Thanks, Jason. I'll cover the SWOT analysis in the strength section, and I'm going to go through these pretty briefly. The first strength for United Realty is the 100% agent commission model. Second is the high volumes, the rapid growth potential, the amount of market data that is accessible to them through their corporate partners, and additionally the technology resources that the corporate partners offer as well. And for weaknesses, I will cover the single large market, the lack of top agents, additionally the lack of central office, and an internal competition between agents, and lastly, the bargaining power lost due to that.
And moving to the opportunities, there are many different factories and companies moving towards Middle Tennessee area, which is opening up new jobs for people. They're moving to Tennessee and increasing that population density, so they will need homes and places to live. There are also opportunities in expansion to look into those markets that they haven't tapped into yet. They have great technology expertise that they can use to enhance their customer experience in virtual ways and building those relationships. And they're in a great place to recruit talent as they are near very top college and universities in the Middle Tennessee area to find new talent and college graduates that are looking for a job.
Awesome. Finally, I'll cover the threats. So threats in the market include the economy, just the economy in general. As the economy moves up and down, so does the selling and buying of real estate. Same with interest rates. Interest rates are tied directly to the economy. As Andrew had talked about earlier, we're at record lows right now for interest rates. So as those interest rates fluctuate, it can be a threat for us as well. We also have government policy, demographics and location, and I think we'd be at a miss if we didn't mention COVID-19 as being a threat in the current environment that we have going today.
So based on the above analysis, we have summarized the following 5 concerns about United Real Estate is focused on. And the third is current business model could lead to agent competencies. So according to Maslow's 5-stage model and the hierarchy of needs, so the United Real Estate allows 100% commission fee to attract talents, but the huge profits have weakened the motivation of agents. And then United Real Estate is adopting a volume-based approach, which requires constant need for new talent and brokers. And then the COVID-19 pandemic that is hitting the confidence of home seller. Seller may feel that listing their home is a waste of time, and also COVID-19 reduced purchasing power. Almost all industries have been affected. And finally, ultra competitive and saturated real estate market in growing cities. And the real estate market in Nashville has become a buyer's market, and real estate service companies like bargaining power because there are many properties here but few buyers. So.
Thanks, Sherm. I'm going to go into the first recommendation and implementation that we want to offer. So the first one is to implement a new transaction fee business model to motivate agents to close on more homes and drive up volumes. So what does that mean? So Sherm talked about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow describes the self-actualization model, and especially in regards to the financial security, as only the second most important thing to a person to reach self-actualization. So how does that affect United Realty? And how does this actually start causing complacency? So if you look down on the bottom right-hand side, you see supporting data for the U.S. median home value of $250,000, and it's based on a 3% commission rate. A traditional brokerage typically offers a 60-40 model, 60% of earnings to the agent and a 40% to the brokerage. In order to reach financial security, which in our case we are saying is over $100,000 a year earnings, an agent would have to sell 25 homes. On the current model for United Realty, an agent earning 100% commission rates would only then have to sell 15 homes to earn the same amount of financial security. Therefore, less volume and less transaction fees for United Realty, the main source of their revenue. So how do we counteract this complacency that can be caused? So what we are recommending is for the first 10 homes that agent sells, we will charge the standard $500 transaction fee. After the 10th home, homes 11 through 15, the transaction fee will actually be waived. Third, and this is where we start incentivizing and actually combating the complacency for closing on homes. If an agent sells 16 to 20 homes, United Realty will actually offer a $1,000 bonus for every home sold in that range. And lastly, continuing on a bonus structure, if an agent sells 20 plus homes, for every home that they sell 21 and on, they will receive a $1,500 bonus from United Realty. And again, to reiterate, this is to drive up volumes and to gain market share and to alleviate any sort of complacency when it comes to agents' earnings. Slide.
Thanks, Andrew. I am going to go ahead and discuss recommendation number 2. So recommendation number 2 that we have is to launch a summer surge listing. Talk ideas, a little bit talk about with that in today's environment. So due to the lack of seller interest in listing a house during the COVID-19 pandemic, United Real Estate should focus on obtaining new listings through summer 2020. This will allow United Real Estate to stockpile properties through the summer. It will allow them to focus on safety for both the buyers and the sellers. And it will allow United Real Estate to move through the COVID-19 pandemic and emerge stronger. The idea here is that we have to get to the other side, right? We have to get through the pandemic. We have to come out on the other side, and we have to be strong when we come out on that other side. And with everything that's going on right now, listing a house is probably just not in the mind of a lot of potential sellers, and it's probably not in the mind of a lot of potential buyers either. So how are we going to implement this? We're going to launch a Summer Surge listing incentive. So it's going to start with a Summer Surge marketing campaign. And the most important part of this is any new listings from May through August of this year will include a 1% reduction in commission fee, and United Real Estate will also waive all transaction fees for those listings. We're also going to focus a campaign on safety for both buyers and sellers with virtual tours and open houses. This is pretty standard with any company really in any market going on right now, is that focus on safety for both consumers and employees, but we're going to focus that as well. We do think that it's important that we not only reduce the commission rate, but also waive the fees by United Real Estate. The reduction in both the commission and the transaction fees, it's going to show the brokers that the company is looking out for the broker's interest as well, right? We don't want the brokers to feel like they're the only ones that are losing something in this deal. We want them to understand that we have their best interest at heart, and we're going to try to come through this stronger together on the other side, both us as a company and them as a broker. It also gives the potential sellers an incentive to list with United Real Estate now, and it gives them the incentive to keep the listing with United until the property is sold, because any house that's listed from May to August will get that reduction in the commission fee and the transaction fees waived, regardless of when it sells, even if it's after August of 2020. Again, we think this is really important as we weather this storm, we get through the COVID-19 pandemic, and we come out stronger on the other side for both the company and our brokers.
Okay, so going into our third and final recommendation, which is to sponsor a competition for a college business management course. This is a time for United to capitalize on their Middle Tennessee location by building relationships, an opportunity to seek and train new talent. And while management courses, gain great knowledge during reading through textbooks and studying cases, we all know that nothing is quite like the hands-on training you receive with local professionals. It'll also give United a sense of confidence in the new hiring age and with the new talent. It'll hopefully save them time in the hiring process, because they'll be confident in the talent coming to them, as they'll be part of that journey with those students. And at the end of it, it's just major agency exposure for them in the location they are now in. Next slide. Okay, so we're looking at a one-year trial-based sponsorship launching in the spring semester of 2021, which will be 2 graduations, a chance for new talent in the spring graduation, which is May, and the fall, which is December, for United to recruit new talent and possibly hire. It should be $5,000 per semester, so we're looking at $10 grand total for both semesters, the entire year. So what does this sponsorship include? So we're looking at agency field days. So this is a time, kind of like a field trip for these students in this management course, to come to maybe the United agency, speak to representatives, speak to agents, brokers, maybe get to tour some of the property they're looking to sell, just kind of get a day in the life of what it's like to work in the real estate industry and for United. Which brings us to professional speaker days. United has the opportunity to bring in representatives to the classroom to get to talk to students, answer their questions, and just present United, and use that time to recruit, as well as go to career fairs and recruit talent there and give a new perspective on working in the real estate industry, and specifically for United. And this brings us to our major portion of what the sponsorship is, which is the United Real Estate Competition. Slide, please. Slide, please. Okay, so let's look at what exactly the real estate competition is. So this would be for MTSU Strategic Management course, which is a business capstone class for undergraduate students in the business college. It averages 225 students across 11 classes per semester. So that's an average of 75 teams made with 3 members each working on this competition, both in each semester. And what the teams do is they spend the entire semester evaluating United's management and strategy efforts and preparing recommendations for United. They compete throughout the semester, and they compete in front of their professors, and their professors will choose the top 5 teams that will advance onto finals. The teams that make it to finals will compete for cash prizes and possibly job offers, depending on their performance and how much they can impress United Real Estate. The top 5 teams, before they present in front of the United representatives that will choose the winners, will be invited to the agency for a quick Q&A session with our representatives so they can use their networking skills and maybe find different ways they can benefit from that conversation and really boost their presentation before they compete for real in front of United for those great prizes. Slide. So what are the benefits to United for doing this sponsorship? Well, let's look at them. So you gain a complete access to a pool of possible hires and new talents that have elite training and a great knowledge of your brand already. That saves you tons of time. And also a chance to see and test the new talent's performance and skills. So see them in action, see them working, see how they perform. A confidence in those new hires that could lead to a shortened interview process because you already have seen them perform in front of you and showcase those skills. And you don't have to read it on paper. You also gain a new perspective on management and strategy for United. This is an important analysis that will be conducted for the brand's benefit. So in a nutshell, these students will be performing analysis for you that will benefit you, that will save you tons of time that you don't have to work on. It will also be an opportunity to implement strategic recommendations that they give you. So these great ideas actually could benefit you and you could see that. And you also will gain major exposure in the Middle Tennessee area. And if you find this successful, it's an opportunity to expand sponsorship in new areas and fields. So we could go past this one management course, we could do multiple courses, we could do multiple majors, multiple colleges, or maybe expand it to different universities that you have locations in. So tons of benefits that can help you in the sponsorship that we believe will also be the solution in you always wanting to build your agency and be a volume-based organizational approach and finding new talent and recruiting. Yeah. Stop.
Thanks, Autumn. So with that, I would like to thank United Real Estate for listening to our presentation. We do appreciate your time taking out of your schedule to listen to us. And I'd like to open the floor to any questions and discussion.